So here we have the new AEE Condor A22 model from Paul's Fishing Supplies in Onehunga. What I'm going to just show you today is the mechanical release that this one has. So I'll show you that on the drone now. It's still a Newton release system used before, where you can actually do a manual release by thumbing the reel, but as well as that, by pushing a button on the remote, that'll release the wire from the ball bearings and cast your bait. As you can see, the release is slightly different from the original. It's a little bit more pronounced, certainly a little bit more heavier in the drone, and the remote's a little bit heavier as well. Obviously a little more technical stuff inside to make that one work. The release is quite simple. It's a matter of going on the remote and pushing this button to the left here with the two arrows on it. That opens those ball bearings up and will drop the wire from that and cast your bait. After that, one still returns home with this button here. So just the extra button to push if you're using the mechanical release. Otherwise just thumb the reel and push return to home. So what I'm going to show you now is just the release working on the drone itself, just to give you an idea. So that's it there, and what we're going to do is we're just going to push the release button and you'll see that that wire will drop. There it goes there. Push the return to home button and the drone will return to home. Okay, so here we go for another flight. We've turned the control on and the battery on. Baits are all set. Reels in free spool motion. What I'm going to do is send it up. Make sure it hovers okay, straight out and up, and then out. And we'll walk over to the reel. Make sure everything's going okay there. Send it out, push the dropper, and then return to home. So here we go. Toggles out. Starting up. Lifting up slowly with the toggles, just with the tips of your thumb rather than the top of your thumb. Just gives you gentle motion, and gentle is really the key. Up it goes and out. Just keep it away from it. I normally take it up to about 35 odd metres, 40 metres, just so that it doesn't have to work too hard in case the braid hits the water and drags through. Like with this mechanical release, there's not too much of an issue with that. And then we'll just walk over to the reel now as it goes forward. Keeping an eye on the drone all the time as we do. And what I normally do is just thumb over the reel gently, just in case there's some sort of free spool override. You can see it's going out at about 13 metres a second at the moment. 11 minutes still on the clock. We're going to go out to about 550 for this set. So just bring it over. And when we reach 550, I'm just going to push this button here to release the bait. Now, and there it goes. You can actually feel it through the rod. Push return to home and you'll see that return's coming up already. Just keep an eye on the numbers just to doubly sure. While you're doing that, you can wind your reel up just to regain tension on that line, so the recurve hook set, and you can see there that the numbers are coming home and it's returning to home. Okay, and here's the drone returning to home, turned around, facing back the way it came. Now this will land on its own and cut the engine, but I'm going to catch it this time, that's what I normally do. Keep the drone up and away from you in case it decides to kick in the wind. Turn it off at the remote. And there we are, set. The good thing about this as well is if there's a safety function that if it's low battery when the drone's out, it will return to home, but it will also drop the mechanical release and drop your cast and bait into the sea before it comes back. That way it just sort of saves a little bit more battery time. So yeah, that's another great safety feature. What I'm going to show you now is the turning on and the calibration of the new AEE A22 model. Pretty straightforward, just the same as the old style Condor. Very simple. I'll show you that now. On the remote, we just turn that on first of all. You'll see it come up and you'll see it goes connecting. We come down to the drone itself and we do a short push, long push, hold, and you'll see it's starting up. The chevrons are moving and the sounds start coming on. Back to the remote, you'll see it's connecting. We've got it in GPS mode and in sports mode for speed. Make sure that those toggles are in. You'll see its system start up, and what it's doing now is it's just connecting to the satellites, making sure everything's okay, and then we'll be ready to calibrate it. And here we are, we're ready to go. We can calibrate now. It's got 17 minutes on the clock. It's 0 meters out. It's in GPS mode. At the moment there's 9 satellites. So let's calibrate it. So all we have to do is we push the left lever down and hold it and push the return to home button 9 or 10 times. It'll come up compass calibrate. You can put that down now. Go to the drone. You'll see it's flashing green. Hold it out. One turn. Horizontal. Goes to solid green. Smiley side face up. Another horizontal turn. Solid green light. Calibrated. And it's as simple as that. Now is I'm going to take Whacker's line out. He's got a manual pen reel. And he's using a 130 pound braid, so there's a fair weight on the line, but this has been quite good for us because we've been able to test dragging the line through the water without it releasing like the old tension release used to do, because we've wound the tension up, and using the mechanical release, and even with a headwind we get a great drop out of it. So the same again with hooking it up. We just take the wire, pop it into the Newton release clip, just like that. See, it's held there. Put the sinkers out in front. Everyone has their own style. This one's going out to the left. We're going to take the drone up and send it out. So again, when we start, nice and easy, toggles down and out. Hit the motors on the drone, start up, and then just gentle movements with our thumbs. That's the key. Nice and easy, and out she'll go. Once again, we're going to take it up to about 35, 40 metres. We might even take this to 45, so it's a heavier line. We don't have to drag it through the water. That makes it all better. It's away from us, so if a sinkers fall or it happens to release, then no one's going to get hurt. We're up about 44, 45 metres now. And out we go. Let's come and have a look at the reel. So this is Pete's pen reel. It's got a 130 pound braid on there, nice and thick. You can see that the line's peeling out. It's going at about 11 metres a second at the moment. The drone's 300 metres out. It's hit the water, and you can see it's actually still pulling the line out. He's had a bit of a run over with the reel there. The drone's down to 1 or 2 meters a second. Now it's pulling it again and it's rising up to 4 meters a second. So you can see the pull on this thing, and that mechanical release is really working well on this particular cast. I'm quite pleased that's happened because it gets a good chance to show you what's happening. Still pulling out, it's down to 3 meters a second. Now normally with the tension release, chances are you wouldn't be able to thumb the reel and get a release on this, but that's the joy of the mechanical release, is that we can push that button even when it's going down 2 or 1 meter a second, even 0, as it is now. We'll push it, that's released it, and it's a great cast. Push the button to return to home. You can see that it's returning. Numbers are starting to come back. Here they go now. We cast at 560 odd meters. Great cast. Okay, so the drone's returned from 560 odd meters. You can see it's coming home. Now what it'll do is it'll turn around to face the front again with that Newton release facing forward, and down it comes. This time, instead of catching it, I'm going to let it land on the ground and you can see what happens. Nice and smooth, still plenty of battery time left. We were there and back in 2.5 to 3 minutes, which is fabulous. I think the power in this particular model is better than the original. And there it is, landed on the ground, the motors will shut down, and now we go and turn it off simply by the opposite to how we started the drone. Short push, long push, hold. Chevron's going through. Lights will turn out now. And off at the remote. Safely home. Fabulous. Hi, it's Pete here. I'm a user of the AEE Condor. I have been doing that for probably 2 years now. Had some great results, and I just thought I'd do a quick video for you of the new model, what that's involved with, and just show you a little bit about flying the drone in general, a little bit about the tackle that I use, troubleshooting if you have it, and then we're going to get on and show you a few flights and see what sort of fish we catch today. We're up here at the far north in level 2, but still getting some great fish at the moment. So let's have a look. I've got both the drones here. This is the original, my original Condor. You can see the Newton release, which is the old tension release, which works very, very well, a good safeguard. If anything goes wrong, that line will just pull out, and you know, your drone's not going to go down in the water. And here's the new A22 model, and here's the difference. That's the new Newton release. So that's got the benefit of the tension release, thumbing the reel, but also pushing a button on the remote to release the bait and cast the line.
Get them both together.
There's a comparison of the two for you. You can see that the new release, this one here, a little bit more pronounced. There's definitely more weight in the drones, and also that the remote control is a little bit different. But what I have found is this has more pulling power. Seems to be stronger engines, takes the line out very quickly, very smooth, and I'm wrapped with it. It's great. Remote's just the same. Things to watch is just that these two toggles are facing in. This is your speed control, this is your GPS. Antenna straight out in front on this particular model. You've got the same toggles. This is your bait release. It opens that mechanical release up. This is your return to home button. Things to remember when flying the drone: plenty of battery time in the drone itself for the battery. I tend not to fly anything out that's under 10 minutes. The battery's got 20 minutes run time. Going out there, you never know what's going to happen. Headwinds, side winds, anything. So if you've got plenty of battery time, less chance of something going wrong and more chance of getting your drone back home safely. Troubleshooting. The things that seem to come up most of all is that the drone may have lost connection, or it may come up some sort of error like a field compass error. If you find that you can't return to home, it's not returning once you're pushing the button, putting the drone into manual just by flicking this over, try and bring the drone home back that way. If you're still having no luck, I found the best way is send the drone further out to 1 kilometre. It's got an end field there, and then that automatically comes into return to home mode and will sort of override anything that's happened in the past. That seems to work best. The other problem that you may get from time to time is the abnormal battery symbol coming up on here. Comes up abnormal battery with an exclamation mark. If that happens, bring the drone back home, land it, have a look inside the battery. Often that's due to a little bit of grit or dirt or moisture in the drone terminals. It's not getting a good connection. The drone realizes that, shows that particular error. Need to come home, land it, and perhaps change the battery, dry it out, use a brush to brush the terminals, paintbrush or whatever, and see how that goes. Now, when flying the drone out, the key for a lot of people is jerky motion, which often sometimes gets an early release of the bait. Key thing is gentle, gentle, gentle. And I find, I can't reiterate this enough, using the tips of your thumbs to move the toggles up and down and left and right, rather than on top of the toggles, makes everything a lot smoother. Practice over a field first of all, get that motion proper. I say it's getting my mojo on. So what you'll find is you'll go through a set routine each time, setting up the drone, sending it out, calibrating it, the whole works. Same with how you use the remote control, and practice makes perfect. But $1,300 for this drone, 2 years old, occasional maintenance, just sending it back, making sure that the terminals are clean, that the batteries are okay, and the money I've had back from this drone is astronomical. The A22 model, I'm sold on that. The use of the mechanical release at times is just an absolute godsend. So worth the extra couple of hundred dollars. I would probably tend to use this on windier days, just to be able to put the extra tension on the line to stop bowing, and also in case there's a headwind to get that mechanical release rather than the tension release. Sells it for me. So that's probably enough of that. Let's go fishing. Talk about the tackle I use for the backbone and the traces. I make up my own, but I do buy the actual traces and hooks and the swivel clips from Paul's Fishing Systems. Here's an example. There's the target release snapper hook. I tend to use 4s or 5s. The beauty of these hooks is that it has this wire at the back of the shaft, and when the fish bite it, especially if they're small, they don't get gut hooked. Now, Paul Barnes went to a lot of research to have a look at this, and these hooks are excellent for saving those small fish and being able to put them back in the ocean for another day. I use a Lumo bead at the bottom, just so there's nothing rough on the hook shafts itself, and I also use Lumo or clear tubing over the trace itself. I just find these easier and just sort of help stop tangles. These swivel clips from Paul's Fishing Systems are great. Easy to use, help stop tangles, fabulous. Backbone I use, 200 pound backbone trace, and coastal clips. Attach your sinkers at one end. This attaches to another coastal clip to your braid on your line. On the end thimble, I'll have a smaller snap swivel with two 4-ounce sinkers off that, and also the release wire coming off it. And that's for the situation where you may get a snag out there. Instead of, you know, your braid or anything breaking, the snap swivel will release those sinkers if need be, or your traces will break if they're hooked up on a rock, and so most of your gear is saved. So that's what I tend to use. This is about 15 meters long, 500 width gaps for the swivel clips to run through, and I use 6 hooks. You're allowed 7. Other than that, you need a float on top of that, but you know, 6 hooks is plenty. You get 6 fish on, great stuff. So this is the first fish of the day. We've been out there about 6 odd minutes using mackerel and squid today. Shimano Forcemaster, working reasonably hard. Winding in at about 22. There's the lithium battery from Paul's Fishing Systems. Makes it nice and easy, simple, straightforward. See the rod's working pretty hard. A little bit of sign in the water now. Let's go down and see what we've got on this first set. Always a good sign when you don't see anything floating on the top of the water other than a bit of weed. Should be a good sized snapper, I think. And there's our first one of the day. As you can see, that's a good sized fish. Let's have a look what we've got today. Line's still out there, but we've caught some good fish. I've already given a couple away. These are the 3 best ones we've got for today. It's been a great day's fishing. Let's take a look at these beasts. These are beautiful, fat, healthy looking fish. Can't do much better than that. It's been a great day's fishing. Hope you've enjoyed the video, and we'll give you an update next time and see how we go. Tight lines, everybody. Okay, so here on our 4th set, it looks like it could be a monster. Certainly a pretty big snapper coming in. Oh yeah, this is a good sized one. That's a great size snapper. Foot comparison, big fish. Good, healthy looking fish. So this is the 3rd set of the day. On the 2nd one we got a huge bite which busted the hook off, which was probably one of the biggest bites I think I've ever had here. This one's working pretty hard. We had it out for about 6 minutes. Big bite. Let's see what we've got. Another big snapper. It's another beautiful looking fish. They're big and fat at the moment. As you can see, put my foot next to it. That's another beautiful fish. So here's our 4th cast, about 10 minutes in. Big bite. Shimano's working hard on this one. We'll wait for another pull just to sort of show you. The fish isn't happy. Yeah, she's not happy. That's screaming on Raku mode. I'll show you the end of the cast when it's coming in, and let's have a look and see what we've got. The AEE Condor A22's dropping it nicely out there, and we're getting a great return. So here we are on our, oh gosh, is this the 5th cast? I'm not sure. A few good bites. And this one won't be as big, but still a nice snapper, I think. Nice panny. Yeah, had a bigger bite on there, but didn't hook up. So yeah, so that's 5 sets and 4 really nice fish. Pretty good size. Happy with that. Keep the campers and neighbours and what have you fed. That's what it's all about, giving it away, keeping some for yourself. And just when you think it's over, I told you there was that last set out, these two on the end of it. Shimano Force Master went into circuit breaker mode at about 130 metres, so it was a manual wind in. So that's 5 big ones for the day, a couple of small giveaways. Great fishing. See you next time.